Very similar team to what we saw. The Taunt Protect. A lot of people seem to be running this.
Like you say, it's the intricate details
You know who's good into this? My Terra Grass Ho-Oh. My goat.
that make all the difference in these mirror matches. You can see here we've got the Dragon Trustalization on the Zamazenta. A very common kind of Trustalization here, but the Substitute not seen so much on the Calyrex, and I think if you allow Mattie to get that up, it makes it difficult to break the Calyrex and direct all that attention to that Pokemon. I think a big player here is going to be that Chen Pao, and a change it from Mattie's team and NAIC, where they had the Ogerpon Hot Flame, they now have that Urshifu with the Rapid Strike, and that Pokemon could be the difference maker for Mattie going into this one. But the all-important thing, I think, when you look at...
Look at the Unfezant. That's a Pokemon. That water ball is huge. I like it. That's a real gamer right there. But look at the Unfezant. Ain't nobody rocking with Unfezant. Except for you, Mattie. Terra Dark, which everybody seems running. Terra Dragon. Ghost, yep. Ghost on Banchief, which is really cool for fake out, so pressure into Incineroar so you get the kill. I like that. Electric and Dark. Where is IE? Iceland? Maybe? Yeah, this drink is crazy. Mattie looks like they're about to beat the shit out of their opponent. Like, all right, let me drink this real quick. Hold up. Ends with a swing. Unfezant has to be one of the worst birds. Like at least, and it's not. No, I'm just thinking competitively. I think Unfezant only needs close combat, or like Noctowl's the goat of Rambats though. Big Unfezant's the goat of Rambats in Generation 8 Dynamax meta, right? Because it crits you at max airstream, it's max darkness and all that stuff. In Gen 8 Rambats, Unfezant's the GOAT. But Noctowl's the GOAT of Rambats in this gen. That Tinted Lens, Hyper Voice, and Hurricanes? Crazy. Oh, it's Ireland. Ireland makes more sense. Wow. Why did we say Iceland?
Kangawa's team is that Chen Pao with that.
The problem is also that Unfezant looks like it should be good. It just can't. Ranked Unfezant as the #1 uses mod has Tailwind.
Whimsicott to a certain extent can cause a little bit of disruption, and you're going to need it here for that speed control to match the speed control on the opposite side of the field. And then the fake tears, if you can combine that with the Raging Bolt or that Calyrex, it's going to be really something for Kanagawa to have to sit up and take note of.
And Mattie's team has a little bit of everything. Of course, you have the speed, you have the ways to be able to
Isn't it
do that damage, but
Kilowattrel?
also that more longevity for your own Pokemon, and being able to maybe take advantage of the turn to set up that substitute.
I think male and female Unfezant are really good. Also, I love the Terra Dark Whimsicott into like the prankster stuff.
But Yuma on the opposing end.
Watchog is literally useless. I know you ain't watching it at 3.9 speed. I'm watching it at 1.5, bro. Remember when Air Lace was Unfezant's best move? I do. They really need to give it close combat or some ground move. Or some like drill run. Just give it drill run. Who cares about Furo?
This team, again, we have two trainers that have teams very similar to their really strong like performances. And when we're looking at this one, it's one with just a little bit of tweaks from last we saw Yuma at Japan.
Yeah, you could see that the Zamazenta previously was grass terror type. It's now fighting
I'm
terror
saying,
type. And I think a really smart and interesting choice here, because how many players have actually...
I love the wide guard Smeargle that we're seeing a lot of. Looks like people are trading Decorate. I mean, I guess you only use Decorate when you have Calyrex
Ice.
Ice.
That Decorate that Yuma has used in the past, it's now got wide guard, which gives that extra layer of kind of protection.
Wait, did they just talk about Decorate? Oh, shit.
That Decorate that Yuma has.
Yeah. Oh, ooh. My mind is close to a VGC commentator's. Let's go. Not as good though.
In the past, it's now got wide guard, which gives that extra layer of kind of protection.
I remember the Unfezant.
All the powerful spread moves that we see over and over again from trainers.
I remember when
and with how these two teams
Cybertron got rid of two Pokemon with Sentry.
Into this match to see how they want to be going about this when you are looking at the fact that
I gotta take off my merch. My merch is done.
Well at that international level. When you're looking back at different accomplishments, I mean, the fact that we got to see very similar teams from these two trainers at NAIC to then see a top 16 from Mattie and this top 8 from Yuma, I think is really, really strong. But when these two teams are so similar, where do we get to see where a trainer can really take advantage? Is it all down to those restricteds?
Definitely, I don't think it is down to the restricteds. They're going to play a big part in this game. It's always about, I think, in the mirror, if both of you bring your restricted to the match, then it's
dropping Decorate for wide guard is a good call.
From there, the dominance kind of fall into place.
Wide guard plus fake eyes so much.
I think the thing is, Kinagawa's got these really threatening options like the Smeargle that you're going to have to place certain Pokemon on the field to kind of check your Mattie, because you can't allow the room to support and disrupt like Kinagawa's kind of used to being able to do that Pokemon.
I'm enjoying what they're saying.
Whether that's leading with the Urshifu, so you've got the Surgeon Strikes to kind of hit into that.
I was just listening to the matchup. This is our first This is our first Smeargle. Let me hear the matchup.
And multiple times get through the sash, or you've got something like that Chen Pao out of lead with
Into the
to shut down early. Maybe that's something that Kanigawa can
I
take
couldn't wait
advantage
10
of.
We'll have to
seconds.
see if that's game plan they'd be going for as it's starting to get into the first game here. Swiss round 4 between Yuma
we
and
get
Mattie.
tailwind
Right away,
support.
Yuma, that's going to be both restricted on the field. That's Zamazenta and that Calyrex Shadow Rider. Whimsicott and Qian Pao instead for Morgan.
Yeah, it's a really offensive lead here from Kanigawa, coming out with both restrictors here and in a nice position. Going to have be a little bit threatened from the Chen Pao into the Calyrex. Of course, with that sash there, do have a bit of a protection, but there's Zamazenta putting a lot of pressure onto that Chen Pao, and you're not really offering up.
This
the
is
offensive,
you have no
nature
defensive.
that you
Yeah,
really want in this
protect is
situation.
literally
Yes,
the
you can
play
maybe
in
call
tailwind. I
translation
agree.
on the Calyrex, go for a Moonblast there if you expect.
Because at least you can encore if they go for body press, and you can threaten.
Make sure that Qian Pao can make its way through the turn, and Whimsicott, when Mattie has a Pokemon that has the ability to set the speed for the Pokemon he has in the back, this just makes so much
Astro
sense.
Barrage, no
Astro Barrage
Terra.
from the Calyrex Shadow Rider. Of course, Qian Pao won't take any damage.
Ain't
The
no
Whimsicott,
sucker
not
coming
so
in
much.
either.
Brought
Damn,
down
just
to
calls
19
the
HP.
calls the
Zamazenta,
protect.
is this going to be the double up? No, instead into the Qian Pao. So Whimsicott can stick around. Whether that's going to be too great or not, we'll have to see. But
Yo,
it's
no
great to have
way.
the opportunity to see. And it also
Yo, raw Astro Barrage is wild. I guess it's a tough turn to go for a sucker turn 1, but damn, that was risky.
okay, interesting. We get to see that Mattie has only brought one of the restricted Pokemon.
Yeah, really interesting there. No Calyrex in the back for Mattie, so that's a big decision there. It's puts a bit more reliance on that.
I'm taking Venom off to Worlds. What is
If
this?
you don't, then
Where did that even come
Zamazenta
from?
comes onto the field, it's going to have a way harder time being able to deal with the Calyrex Shadow Rider then. The Zamazenta here, still not really threatened from either the Chen Pao or this Whimsicott. So
That's
very
how
safe to
Calyrex
just sit,
Shadow Riders play?
Just fire off attacks into the Chen Pao. The double up here is pretty threatening, even though the
Oh,
ice
well,
spinner going
Calyrex
into that
Shadow
Calyrex.
Rider's
A
dead.
lot of damage from that Ice Spinner. Whimsicott now the double up with the Moonblast. Not enough for the KO. Calyrex Shadow Rider's gonna stick around. Astro Barrage now in return.
Oh my
Whimsicott on
gosh.
such low
I-
HP,
you only
no
get, like,
chance. And
2
Qian Pao,
turns of
that's
Tailwind
how
after
focus
2.
gone.
That's
And
amazing.
Zamazenta still has this opportunity to attack as well. And we
Why
saw
did this
that with Body
Calyrex
Press
get so much
last time
value?
to try and get rid
Without a
of the
Terra
Qian Pao.
either.
You have to imagine it's going to be a little bit more of the same this go around. But look at that. We got to see a Calyrex Shadow Rider that was
Free
brought down
steal
so
move here.
low. It's going to be taken down. But still, that's going to be Yuma with a double KO on the turn.
Jesus.
And Mattie just the one.
Yeah, it gets the Grim Near boost, but then the Life Orb kicks in and the
Yeah,
recall
yeah,
there,
it's
just
body
enough to
versus
take
his
it down.
body.
The fact that it was able to survive
I guess
the
getting rid of
double
Calyrex,
ice
though,
spinner
is still
and
really
Moonblast
good for
was
Za
fantastic
for
to start
later.
with, to be able
But
to
you got
get
no
Astro
chip
Barrage
on
off the
opposing
field.
Za.
Mattie's
This
side.
is not looking that
Zamazenta's
great.
sitting in a very strong position and no translation has been committed yet. That might have been able to bring in their own Zamazenta and the Raging Bolt, but you got to remember that the Tailwind's still active on Mattie's side. It's not present on Kanigawa's.
The Boomer.
Yuma now, with that one Calyrex being knocked out, has this opportunity to bring this Rillaboom onto the field. So yes, there is still going to be a couple more turns of this Tailwind to play around with, but you do have Fake Out now to at least slow things down for this one turn to slowly but surely make your way
There's
through.
only
Yeah,
one
you probably
turn
wanna
left.
make best use of it as possible here to kind of get through these Tailwind turns and then kind of even the
I was
field.
trying to be
Right
greedy
now,
with my
the
Zaz. I was running no
Raging Bolt
protect
and
hard
Zamazenta
defense
really
when I was
outdo
testing
everything on
it.
the side and really
Very
finding those
greedy, very
double ups into
bad.
specific slots. An easy one is the Rillaboom, of course. You have that Fake Out, so that's not going to be an option this turn. But once this turn's passed, you're still going to be in a really not so great situation until that Tailwind does dissipate. The one thing that you would say as well that Mattie has as an advantage is they can thrustlize out the weakness from the body press from the
Is he
opposing
calling
Zamazenta, but
the-
Kanigawa can't really get out of that weakness. so
Okay,
much.
they tried to
Going
call
on
the
into
Fake
turn,
Out
all
on
about
a
that
Raging
Fake Out
Bolt.
pressure, and it's going to be a Raging Bolt that protects Zamazenta that tried to get a move off, but it's going to be stopped in its tracks. The body press from Yuma, though, into
All right,
the
so
Raging
no-
Bolt.
no
So not
damage
really
happened
any
this turn.
damage done
No
on
damage
the turn.
happened
It's
this
just
turn.
Mattie that's now is one less turn of that tail.
Mattie, they might have
Yeah,
to
now I think it's
Terra,
about making
right?
the most of it, right? I think you can go for the double up into the Rillaboom. It hasn't got Protect Us, an easy slot to go for here. But we are finally seeing those terrestrialization options locked in, and which one it will be, we'll find
Yeah,
out
you
very
don't want
soon.
to die to
It will
body
be
press.
The fighting terrestrialization on Kanigawa. Gotta go
Oh my
all
gosh,
body
this is
press
gonna do
into
so
retaliation
much.
to Mattie's side of the field. Which toggle will he go
I'm not
for?
in Worlds.
Yeah,
nah.
when you see this terrestrialization, you know it's all out offense, but it's, of course, Mattie that gets to fire off. He's double attack first, and you called out Rillaboom.
All right,
did
so
not
that's
protect,
dead.
it's going to be an easy
But
double up,
Tailwind
easy
ends this
KO.
turn.
Now it's going to be the terrestrialized Zamazenta. See how much damage it
This is
can
gonna do
do
a
with this
billion
body press.
percent.
Terrestrialization we don't get to see too often, and so
Oh my
much goes
God.
to the Raging Bolt.
Wait.
Not quite enough for the KO.
What is your last mon that you don't care about Za? I guess when you're Terra fight, you don't have to care about Za, so that makes sense.
But still significant. And now that was the final turn of the Tailwind. So now how are these restricted going to match up into each other?
Yeah, well, the body press doing a lot of damage. I kind of wanted to see it into the Zamazenta to see what the damage option would be like there, but both
Okay,
players
yeah.
relying on their Raging Ball.
Makes sense.
By that
You're good.
Zamazenta
You're-
as their last two Pokemon. So
You're
now
literally good. This is gonna be that easily.
in a bit more of a healthier position, Kanigawa there with the fresh Raging Ball to come onto the field now. You know, the Raging Ball on Mattie's side has taken a lot of damage so far, but Mattie does still have the option to terrestrialize one of their Pokemon, now knowing where Kanigawa's kind of put their terrestrialization, so could maybe utilize the Dragon typing on the Zamazenta. Probably not the best idea, to be honest, because
To
you've
get
got
some
the
grassy
Dragon
terrain.
Pulse threat from the Raging Ball on the opposite side of the field, but is your own
You don't think Terra fight changes that many rolls? It goes from doing like 60 to 90%. That's a pretty. It's stab
Raging Ball too low health to really commit that terrestrialization to.
on
No
Za.
terrestrialization is going to be spent at least right here, right now. It's
No
gonna be
Terra's
one
been
apiece.
committed
Yuma
either.
Going to be observed that Zamazenta. Actually, both Pokemon.
Yeah, it's literally-
so
it has
Yuma
to be
double
the mirror.
protect. Mattie just
Bloggy.
onto this Raging Bolt. So a turn where it's just a little bit of information, and all these Pokemon that can't protect
It
now next time
also
around unless you want to
it
do
also
another free roll.
goes from like if opposing Terra Za is like Terra Dragon, for instance, we've seen them only take about 40%. It goes from that to always two-shotting. So it's a really cool for the mirror. Can we call Zamazenta Zam because Za can also refer to Zacian? Well, but Zam can also refer to Alakazam. That's like saying, can we call Mag Mag because it can refer to Magirna or Cargo Gary or Magnezone. You just have to know. You just have to know. If you know, you know.
Yeah, that's it. And I think now you've got to really kind of say, what's the most important?
Nah, if you want to use the bird, you got to play Gen 8 Rambats, like I said, and use Pheasant. That's the only place.
Pokemon that you want to get rid of if you're Mattie or if you're Kanigawa. I think if you can get rid of the opposing Zamazenta,
yeah,
then maybe
you got to try to.
a little bit easier to deal with. But if you get the option.
I like this. I like the idea of this play. I don't think Thunderclap does enough, though.
Wrong. I mean, the double protect is a little bit easier to go after one of them. Yeah, we are going to lock in now. Mattie's decision to terrestrialize in which Pokemon will
this makes a lot. This literally makes a lot of sense.
It might not have the most
I have no idea what game it is. We're on day one still.
A potential Thunderclap, try and make sure as much damage is done as
no, this makes so much sense. Does this do over half? Nah, it's not going to kill a body press.
Which he does, but that's just not going to be
look at that. Look at that. And look at this roll back. And this makes so much sense here too.
Easy KO. Now Mattie just down to one final Pokemon, and Yuma. I mean,
I don't think Xerneas is ever going to be released with Terra.
And skill can put so much pressure. Thunderbolt into the Zamazenta. That's going to bring it down to about half.
Yeah, now you've got this really awkward position where...
And like, there's no reason not to protect with opposing Za and just Thunderbolt again.
Maybe one more tick of the VGC to protect there could put it out of range from a body press. So
calls it.
Maybe the body press going after.
I guess actually this is better, right? Because you can only kill one. There's no reason to There's no reason to protect. That's better because you can only kill one. You don't even kill Rage. Really well played by Yuma.
The double up here, and it is going to lock it up. Kanigawa going to be able to take this first game.
Just imagine a Sucker Punch turn 1 though. That'd be crazy. So it looked like Mattie was targeting literally all the support but Za ended up being the Mon that basically killed everything. So it's really interesting.
Fashion, not really in any threat throughout that whole game, and the fighting terrestrialization on the Zamazenta could have been the difference, the game changer there.
Yeah, see,
oh my god. Evil. Not the double Smeargle. I didn't see that before. People hate that Mon. It's very, very annoying. This shirt is fire, by the way. The Dittos and Pikachus. Is there a Mimikyu hiding anywhere? Oh.
Doing with his own Zamazenta in comparison to Mattie, especially when you do have that sort of mirror end game with each player having their Zamazenta and the Raging Bolt. You saw how much that stacked up. And really big difference in the translation, as you called out. Wasn't really a safe position for Mattie.
Smeargle's nasty. I can't wait to watch day 2 and the rest of this. I think this is round 4 that we're watching right now. Yeah, this is round 4.
How this next game can go, especially too. Again, we saw that battle of the Zamazentas, but it was a Caliber Shadow Rider from Yuma that actually made a lot of impact early game, and Mattie that opted to only bring one.
Yeah. They're gonna be black for a bit today. But we skip ahead basically to every game, so it's like this, and there's 3 games left on this side.
Restricted.
Yeah, and I think that it was a really smart lead from Kanigawa where they led so effectively there, where Mattie maybe led with 2 Pokemon that really didn't have the offensive prowess to be able to deal with the Zamazenta effectively, and you can see they're losing the Chen power so easily, and the Whimsicott, yes, you got the Tailwind up, but you didn't really get much in return because you may have got rid of the Calyrex.
And you're chilling?
And sandals, and I'm done.
It's fair. Okay. Same lead into Smeargle Tornadus.
Especially if you didn't think the Smeargle was going to make an appearance, but it's Mattie that's going to keep with the same lead. But a drastic change from Yuma into this next game.
Yeah, really drastic lead here because you're going with matching the Tailwind and not with that restricted pair. The Smeargle
not tonight.
Has to be a little bit wary of that taunt, but the one thing you're going to have to say is, does the Whimsicott then match the Tailwind? You're going to say protect from the Chen power though. Doesn't want to get...
You have Cover Cloak on Whimsicott, so you don't have to care.
Yeah, just make sure that you are safe as well. Make sure that you're not going
to match the Tailwind now, or do you Bleak Wind first?
Tailwind from the Whimsicott and eyeing up the Tornadus on the opposing end of the field. This can either be a match or an opportunity.
Yeah, it makes sense to Bleak Wind first because you can always Tailwind next turn.
Whimsicott, this is going to be doing a lot though. Whimsicott does hold on.
Beautiful EVs.
Moody special defense.
Moody special defense.
Yeah,
nothing.
That Sky play now. I think it was the beak before was the boosting item, but you swapping it up there. I really like this though because now you've kind of delayed a turn where you can go for your Tailwind with your own Tornadus and you'll have that extra additional.
Yeah, you get an extra turn. That's beautiful.
Active, so really smart play. And you can set it here, and you're still going to be putting on a lot of pressure with this Smeargle here after that fake out that turn. You've got the active sport.
Can't really encore the Torn if you Terra Darks as well. I don't think you have to Terra Dark though.
Almost feels like it's forced to go for that this next turn.
Yeah, when you're looking at these 2 Pokemon that Yuma have, and
Torn literally wants to get a Tailwind and die.
You do have to hard swap into a different Pokemon to try to take advantage of the situation, and it's going to be Raging Bolt. Also, notably, Mattie leaving Zamazenta at home.
Bleak Wind does get priority as well, exactly, yeah. So it goes in right after.
Now, Smeargle, follow me.
Because it takes the same boost, yeah.
This turn, but it's going to be the last time it gets to use its status move, Taunt, to completely shut it down. Again, Tornadus is not active, so you know it's another attack. Bleak Wind Storm, so much
breaks the sash as well.
You see the power that's got with the boost from the Sky Plate doing
defense boost is actually
still damage
disgusting
to that
too.
Raging Bolt as well.
Well, Smeargle has to switch.
Anything, because of that taunt, so he's going to be forced to switch, or, you know, it's a bit of a free slot here. So Mattie has got that to take advantage of now with the ice.
You get a free KO on the ice spinner on that slot.
It's kind of sitting on the field now where you could go for the tailwind, expecting maybe a thunderclap to come out, and then, yeah, I'll just take the ice spinner that comes out from the Chen Power because that'd be fine. I've got my tailwind set. Yours is going to end the turn following this one. So I'll be in a really good spot even if I lose the Tornadus this time around.
So of course, Miracles to can't really do anything, having been taunted. So Yuma
T-Ball coming out that side. Is it Rillaboom?
And now it's going to be none
It's
other
Za.
than Zamazenta to hit the
Still
field
good
on the
mod.
shield, of course, get a little bit of a defense boost. Now,
Protects the stall out of turn as well. Great playing around.
And of course, not wanting to take any sort of damage on the turn.
You get a huge T-Bolt off.
And void, and for the Raging Bolt as well. That one will be into the Zamazenta, so not a free switch, but a considerable amount of damage.
Yeah, and
Alright, so Pal goes down this turn because you get the tailwind up and then you just kill Pal.
You want to reposition, you want to get things in place before you really let this
Beautiful positioning from the opponent.
But the switch into the Zamazenta here is great because you're starting to put a lot of pressure, and that Raging Bolt going to be very close to being knocked out from the damage that we saw the terrestrialized body press do in the game 1. So that Raging Bolt can't just rely on the fact that it's got a lot of health and it's remaining. It has to be very careful going into this next turn because if a tailwind comes out from the Tornadus, body press follow up into that slot, you could be left in a really awkward position where one of the more powerful Pokemon that you're going to lean into to swing this match for you could be lost quite quickly.
Another point for how this Zamazenta and this Terrestrialization type is just so impactful in this match. So we're going to see
Wants the damage on Raging Bolt, which makes sense.
The damage that we saw in game number 1 from this Terrestrialization was big, and this Raging Bolt on the other end cannot feel quite safe. This is finally the opportunity speed on Yuma's side. Tailwind has been clicked. Now body press from the Zamazenta.
But you get the tailwind back up.
Into the Raging Bolt. Not enough
damn.
for the KO.
Almost killed. So you get a big T-Bolt off.
Huge. Terrestrialization being clicked, Mattie, that is not enough for the KO there.
Yeah, and the switch into the Whimsicott is a really nice one because now you've got the option to potentially go for the Encore into the Tornadus to lock it into that tailwind. So really well timed there.
Yeah, but if you Encore, then you don't beat Za. I think you still want tailwind. Dude, Sash Smeargle on this is also so nasty because look how big fake out. All these mons are like at in Smeargle range.
Which would be nice. The Raging Bolt in such an awkward position. It can go for
An honest guy like me though brings
probably not
Technician Smeargle with fake out. Very honest.
Still in that nice position, and now with that tailwind active, really going to be starting to put on the pressure, especially after that trust.
Good play, good play.
And with how offensive this Tornadus has been as well, the last thing you want to do is put all the eggs in the basket of the Thunderclap. It's Zamazenta, and all of a sudden
No taunt from the tailwind at Torn. Just to, I guess, account for that.
It's not ready in an attack, and you just get KO'd by a Bleak Wind. But now Whimsicott, since it has been out back on the field, body press, that's the tailwind, body press, but of course Raging Bolt.
All right, so now you go Calyrex now and you get your kills.
No connection onto the Raging Bolt.
Bleak Wind you actually want to connect.
Well, and Whimsicott already on his sliver. Now Mattie can't be bringing into a Pokemon.
That Sash Smeargle is legitimately a threat now. So now you get your...
Yeah, one of the things that you would say is that the fighting Terrestrialization doesn't really help you out too much against Calyrex because
you Thunderclap plus Psychic.
That Psychic weakness that you've got there, but with the Fighting type, you can't really do that. So it's an easy target now with that Psychic into the Zamazenta to get rid of that Pokemon. So whether or not we see Kagawa maybe switch out the Zamazenta, keep it for later, and just keep applying the pressure with the Tornadus, it's going to be able to outspeed the Raging Bolt. And
I don't know if Thunderclap kills that, but you definitely Thunderclap with Psychic. We might see a Protect from the Za.
Damage into the Calyrex is going to be very useful as well.
Sub on the Protect is so nice.
Try and do enough damage with something like the Psychic. Get to see a little bit of different
Sub is such a nice play by Mattie. Oh, I love this.
This, of course, does not fare well up against something like that body press. Going from immunity to now just taking a lot of
Protects.
damage.
Yep, protects. Do we see double protect?
Just any sort of shutdown could be big. But of course, when you're talking about shutdowns, Thunderclap, nothing into the Tornadus.
Okay, but if the dog was like yes, the dog like nodded his head.
And probably going to be relatively free on this turn, but no, Heavy Slam instead into the Calyrex.
It was such a fire play though, Mattie. I love the play. I love the try. That was such a fire play.
Bases there with that substitute, which is really nice there. Put himself into that position again where it can threaten that Zamazenta this next turn, and the Tornadus has burned that Protect here, so it is going to have to do something, either switch to get around the Thunderclap threat, or just go for that Bleak Wind that we were talking about before to get that nice damage onto Raging Bolt, pick up the knockout, and now the Calyrex, which is already taking a little bit of chip, getting that substitute up and getting around that turn where they've taken the Heavy Slam rather than the body press. I
think it's just Thunderclap plus Psychic, right?
For the Zamazenta to go after that Calyrex.
Assuming Thunderclap kills.
Pick up a knockout, super effective damage into that one Skulls type.
Astral Barrage is interesting.
Dark Terrestrialization, so you can't get taunted is so nice, but the fact that you've opened yourself up to the body press damage is not in taunt instead into the Raging Bolt.
Nice play. Nice play. Calls a no wide guard. Still gets the kill, gets a lot of damage off on.
Okay,
so no wide guard, but Smeargle still has that pressure too.
And with that life ball boost as well, you get some really good damage onto the Tornadus. You can activate.
So you can't protect, and then Smeargle gets a free fake out into the.
Still got the Raging Bolt hanging on by a thread on your side of the field. I've got that.
The Thunderous Slide.
Kind of checking the Tornadus. So if the Tornadus decides to go for a Bleak Wind, then you've got it kind of checked there. But one Pokemon that can come and start disrupting, kind of supporting the Tornadus here.
He can just Thunderbolt.
Out now can go for it into either target it wants to prevent an attack coming out, and then the Tornadus can apply a little bit more pressure with the
Thunderbolt that
if it's on to kind of match what's on Mattie's side.
And it's nice at least for the Calyrex since you can just
I like
protect that, since of course you're There's immunity, but no attempt at a protect. Instead, it's just going to be taking that fake out. Nothing into the Raging Bolt, though. So Raging Bolt
This is
will
still
be able to go
fun
for an
because you're
attack.
still throwing
That's
it,
gonna be the
and you're
Tornadus.
still
Make sure that
faster.
the speed is going to be matched on this turn, but Thunderbolt into this Smeargle is going to bring it all the way down into the Focus Sash.
Yeah, now the question is, what does Mattie go for, right? The Tailwind's set up now, so the stage is set for Knigawa for the next few turns. This
Special attack, speed drop? No speed drop.
Defense drop, that's fine. Not really going to affect the outcome here. But now you've got Wide God on the Smeargle. Do you lock in with an Astral Barrage? It's not going to be super effective into the Smeargle, but if you kind of lock into the Psychic and go after the Tornado,
You can't protect 'cause of taunt.
then you kind of open yourself up to being subjected to a spore potentially from the Smeargle, and that's the worrying part about it. You want to try and get rid of the Smeargle before it can get that spore off and start to.
It'd be for Prankster, correct? Yes.
Knigawa playing this absolutely.
And also to resist
so
Astral
well
Barrage.
to make it so difficult for Mattie to get that momentum swing that he's trying so desperately to kind of get here.
And the fact that the Tornadus was able to just reset that speed is huge.
Okay,
But Thunderclap
works
is
out.
finally going to find its mark as Tornadus goes
Is Cali still
down.
faster than
It already
Smeargle? No,
did so
right?
much
It should be a
impact,
spore.
though, but on this turn, it will be that spore because Yuma has the speed. Might as well take advantage of it. And
I think it's Cali in the back. I think Cali in the back just wins.
Yeah, and it all comes down to the last Pokemon in the back.
Okay, so it burns the sleep turn immediately, though, so it can still wake off.
Don't wearing off with the Raging Bolt, so worth noting there in a defense moody boost and a speed.
Oh,
edge
that's
for Smeargle.
yo.
So that might be
Oh,
quite
a protect next turn would have actually covered that because the speed drop would have meant this is faster.
influential going into this next turn. Even though the Tailwind's set up, will that affect the interactions with maybe the Raging Bolt this next turn?
We'll have to see if this one comes to fruition, but hitting the field is a very speedy Pokemon. 2 more turns of the Tailwind.
It's gonna come down to Pal, I
Calyrex
think.
for Mattie, of course, has taken that one mandatory turn of sleep on that previous turn.
Thank
But when
you,
the
Ro.
wakes up, that's going to be a different story.
Yeah, and you kind of need to wake up as soon as possible.
You literally need the first turn wake.
Knigawa side, I believe, but the Astral Barrage is going to be super effective. If it
You
does
sim-
land into
what do you
that
do? You
Focus
just
Sash,
spiky
more than
shield
enough to
plus-
be able to take it down, and just to kind of try and get through.
You need to
Allow
keep
the
this
Calyrex to
alive.
wake up. We are seeing that protect.
Yeah, his nasty
Plot makes so much sense.
Take advantage of the situation. Now there's the special attack boost for
Going
Yuma.
for sleep turns?
We're talking about the difference
Okay,
in
but that's the
Yuma
second
talking about
turn.
Making maybe a big play into this, and that could be the damage difference maker going on forward. Spore into the protect from the Raging Bolt. But yeah, that could be everything. Now on this next turn,
Wide
that's
guard's
going to be the
big,
interesting
though.
one because again, that's Calyrex now 2 turns of sleep.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, you can protect your own Calyrex with your Smeargle as long as it's sticking around in the field. It's down to that 1 HP. So if you go for the Wide Guard here, you don't really need to worry about the threat of Astral Barrage. And now you've taken that perfect opportunity you had to get the nasty plus 2 special attack. You'll get in a position where even though it's resisted, the Astral Barrage will probably be able to be enough to pick up the knockout. And we are seeing
Okay,
that finally
big
on
wake,
the
big
side of that
wake.
protect.
That is
But
definitely
Astral
an
Barrage
impactful
now,
wake up
right?
protect, so you make sure that you're not going to be taking
Free
damage
Astral
on this turn.
Barrage.
Smeargle to make sure the Calyrex Shadow Rider's not going to be taking any damage either. Astral Barrage, of course, nothing into the Calyrex. And Raging Bolt, Pokemon that's already taking a lot in this battle. This is a +2 Astral Barrage and a Raging Bolt on just a couple of HP. There is
These
no chance
Smeargles
to
are
be
putting
matting
in
out final 2
crazy
Pokemon.
work with
And
Follow
it's going to
Me.
be a Jianpao hitting the field, and curious where this could be the big difference maker, especially eyeing up that, yeah, there's a Tailwind gone, you have access to Sucker Punch, and I mean, if you can get rid of
I
the
mean, you just
Smeargle-
follow me though, plus Astral Barrage, and you kill
the
both.
game opens up for sure. I think the big key factor there was the Tailwind ending. So the speed interaction now between the two Calyrex is going to be really crucial here. Who's going to go first? But Mattie definitely got the advantage. I think you need to get rid of the Smeargle though, because as long as that Wide Guard's in effect, you can't really utilize your Astral Barrage where Knigawa can utilize theirs. And then now +3 special attack. So regardless of the
Protect and then
resistance you've got with
Psychic,
the
and you
Chen
hope
Power
you live your
Calyrex,
Astral
you are gonna be
Barrage?
subjected to that move hitting for super effective damage. The problem is,
Will
what do you do?
Smeargle
You go for the
Spiky
Wide Guard,
Shield
you go
plus
for
Protect,
Follow Me
though?
to try and get around
And
the
then
Sucker
burn out
Punch.
Protect?
The Sucker Punch is
And then
putting
Follow
a lot
Me?
of pressure on itself from the Chen Power.
And then Astral Barrage? Isn't that-
you know, one of those will be enough.
No, because you can still have- you can still kill, 'cause you go into speed tie.
Option. Do you cover the Astral Barrage or do you cover
Let's see, Mattie, what do you do?
And Sucker Punch off the table with Mattie opting Protect instead. And none of the above play, as it's going to be a Psychic
Oh,
going into
it's going for a
Smeargle.
Spore,
They
I
tried
guess.
ready up the others instead, maybe a Spore, but now Smeargle is gone, and the Calyrex Shadow Rider for Yuma.
Marlene
is
said,
really getting hit
that it
onto this
died.
next turn. It's, of course, a very scary Calyrex Shadow Rider with that Astral Barrage at this +3. But again, when we're looking
This
at the
kills,
Jianpao
right?
and that Calyrex Shadow Rider on the opposing end, it looks like Mattie might be able to have these pieces.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
okay,
it's
okay.
enough there to
It's
be
gonna
able to
come
pick
down
the
to
knockout
Sucker
there.
Wars.
It's gonna be enough, and it's gonna get another boost to +4 right now. It's in a pretty healthy position as well. but
It's
the
gonna
question
come
is,
down to
can you
Sucker
get around
Wars.
This Sucker Punch threat on the Chen Power. You've got enough to be able to take that. 'Cause I really don't feel like you have now. You've lost that line of support. Looks like Mattie might be able to tie this one up with the last remaining Pokemon that they were able to keep in the back. But no
There's
Sucker Punch
one.
landing.
Oh, we're going to be playing one of these.
Oh,
endgames.
they said
It's
I'm
not
going
gonna
for
happen quite
game.
yet, 'cause it's gonna be a
I mean, you
nasty
might as well,
one
you're
from
up
the
one.
Calyrex Shadow Rider. This is where endgames can get interesting because, of course, when you're looking at how many times you can use the Sucker Punch, well, it is limited, right? So it's going to be a little bit of the mind game.
Oh, Tom would be
making sure you can
nasty.
get Sucker Punch when you
Two.
try, and second time's not it.
Yeah, and this is it. I think you can't really deviate from going for the Sucker Punch. I think you've got. We can see the Mattie's got
Two.
8 of them, right? 6 of them are remaining. So I think you can't really deviate at this early stage. I think you've got to really go between that and Protect is maybe the way to go about it. But the one time that you don't lock into it, it's risky because, right?
Yeah, and you can
Then
protect every other turn as well.
might
3.
attack that turn, and then you lose the game, right? But we are seeing the Protect Sucker Punch
3.
once again from Mattie. So it's all a mind game. Who is going to give in first? Who's going to go for the move? And
Never
who's
Ice Spinner.
out?
If you're gonna make the call, you
Gonna be
always
the
taunt.
attempt at the Protect, so if it was an Ice Spinner, it could have been some damage. And, of course, Mattie can always go for the Ice Spinner
4.
or go for the taunt. But again, as you
And
called
now
it, if
Protect's
you all of a
free
sudden go
this
for
turn.
anything other than the Sucker Punch, and it's anything, well...
Protects to call out
It's
Protect.
a scary situation. So, Mattie, this is going to be the deviation
Smart,
now.
safe, safe,
Protect.
safe, safe.
Yuma, was this going to be the turn to ready the attack? This is always going to be so intense, but no, Protect yet again. So Is Yuma always just going to protect? So can Mattie take advantage of this?
Yeah, but, I mean, maybe, right? You can go for the ice spinner, but you're getting lured into like
Okay, 5.
security where you're like, okay, keep going for the protector, keep going for the nasty block. Am I going to take this opportunity to go for the ice spinner? But
So what's happening here is this Pokemon is slower than this Pokemon, but it's going for a priority move that can knock this Pokemon out. And the only way you out, it's called Sucker Punch. So it only works if your opponent attacks you. So they're currently going for Nasty Plots and Protects, which are non-attacking moves, to dodge it. So this is really intense. And this is only a best of 3. Yuma is up 1-0. If Yuma wins this, they go, I mean, they both go on. This person, Mattie, is 3-0. They're both 3-0. One of them goes 4-0. The other is 3-1. You still keep going for the day. But this is really, really intense.
there's always that little doubt in the back of your mind that says, maybe this is the turn that they click the Astral Barrage button, and now they're +6. We haven't got that much health.
Blunder usually attacks on the 7th, Sucker Punch.
It's a real hard situation here.
Blunder attacks on the 7th.
Kagawa obviously keeping count of the Sucker Punches.
Blunder attacks right here.
And there's only a matter of time before we run out of those, and maybe then you have to rely on the ice spinner to get those attacks off.
2 more left, and this is where
I told you Blunder attacks right here! No!
You can see the pop-off on this turn, so Calyrex Shadow right
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Sucker Punch is going to be taken down, and it's going to be Yuma. He's got 2-0 in this set after the craziest endgame.
That was incredible. I can't believe it. Really
what a great game. Yo, what a crazy game.
That was just incredible to see.
Yo.
The threat of the Sucker Punch there, pounding them down. You go for the protective, go for the
what a crazy game.
My opponent guessing, yes I am, but this turn I know that you're going to deviate. And
that was amazing. What a crazy Sucker Punch.
We could have went to a game 3, but no, Kagawa showing why they are one of the favorites to win this year's World Championships.
That was crazy. That was actually so crazy. That was actually insane. That was actually insane. Not gonna get me. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. I lose immediately. Yeah, I would have too, and I would have lost immediately. What a great game. Seriously, what a great game.